gives me great pride and great pleasure to stand here today and have you all sit here as we distribute knowledge about going global. So taking everything that you're doing now and expanded it, not just nationwide, but overseas as well. And we're doing this right here in Harlem, okay? I want to thank Clayton and everybody that's representing Silicon Harlem for having us here, okay? The way we're going to do this agenda is I'll have my panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about three important things for any company right now. One is your platform. What are you using to really spread your message across international waters? Two, products and branding. So what is your product? How are you branding it? And does it relate not only in the US, but overseas as well? The last thing that we'll discuss is people, okay? Are you hiring the right people to spread your message, your product, and your brand, and your platform? Does that sound good? All right.
Hello, my name is Danny Kadishin. I'm the Director of Economic Development in the Mayor's Office for International Affairs. First, I just want to thank Silicon Harlem for having us and for all the work they do. Really honored to be here. So the Mayor's Office for International Affairs acts as the liaison between the city and the international community. We also do best practices sharing, and we do actually joint programming with the international community here. And my role as Director of Economic Development, I feel very honored to do because it's sort of a connection of what I used to do for the federal government in economic development and in foreign policy. So we're going to be talking about how we can help companies here go global. But really quick, I just want to talk about two things that the city is doing on the inbound side to try to bring businesses into New York City from around the world, and to do so in a way that's intentional and is good for all of New York City. So the two programs I want to briefly mention are the Tech Talent Pipeline. So some of you might be familiar with that, but it's about 6 months of free training for folks that do not have a background in technology. And after that, they get a paid internship here in the city, and oftentimes after that, full-time employment in a good-paying job. So what we are doing in my office is trying to build a connector between the pipeline of international businesses and startups that are coming from around the world into New York and this pipeline of homegrown talent with the Tech Talent Pipeline, trying to connect the two. The second program is called the International Innovators Initiative, Into NYC. And that just launched about 5 months ago. And it's a program to bring up to 80 entrepreneurs from around the world, help them get visas if they start their business here in New York. And we're actually placing them on 7 City University of New York campuses in all 5 boroughs. And so one of them here is at the Zahn Center at City College. So they're going to actually work out of a shared working space on those CUNY campuses. And the intention is that they will create jobs in those communities and hire people from those communities. My office made a big effort also to make sure that we're attracting women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs from all around the world. We're really intentional about, as the tech sector grows and the innovation sector grows in New York City, we embrace that, but we want it to reflect the city and not a microcosm of it. So with that, I will stop talking, and as we do the discussion, I'm sure we'll talk about how we can help businesses here go global.
That is amazing. Give a round of applause for what the mayor's office is doing. Especially if you're a woman in the audience and you have your own business, that is phenomenal. So the first topic that we'll discuss is platforms. And this question is just for the whole panel, and we'll start with Danny again. All right. Describe your company or organization's platform and how it helps businesses reach a broader audience.
Sure. So we really do 3 main things to help New York City companies go global. The first is we can help you sort of overcome that, all right, where do I start question. So we can give a little bit of guidance on strategy, on what other companies have done, on making a checklist. So you know that there are these 8 things that you have to do to start going global. I mean, we have people on the panel here who can make it even easier, but if you are looking to do it in a different way, we can help you kind of understand the different steps you need to take. The second thing that we can do is connect you with our partners at the state and federal level. because they have other programs that can help. The state actually has money. Unfortunately, I can't, we don't have grants, but the state does. And they actually have some grants for some really incredible programs to help New York State companies go international. And the third thing we can do is connect you with the international community that's here in New York. And I think that's actually the most unique thing that we can offer as a city. There's over 100 countries that have permanent economic government representatives here in New York City. And we can make those connections for you to try to ease your passage into those countries, and that we're happy to do that.
Very nice. That's very good. It sounds like everybody on this panel is touching some aspect of going global within their companies. Now, each one of your companies does that very well, but what are some other platforms that can help springboard people who want to go global?
I was going to say Etsy. So I represent the mayor's office, but I do really want to promote the state and federal government because we each kind of play different parts. And so the state government I alluded to before has these grants that can help you. They can actually pay for you to go internationally to present at a trade show. So if you've identified a trade show and you think that it could help you to export your product, you can apply for that funding at the state level. And then at the federal level, what's really unique about them is they have federal staff on the ground in a lot of countries around the world. And they're there for the purpose of helping American companies export. So they can help you find partners, they can vet partners, they can do matchmaking. So in terms of other platforms, I would say if you come to us and we're not the right people to help you, if you need the grants or you need on-the-ground vetting of a potential partner or matchmaking, we'll connect you with our other government partners.
Just to lighten the mood, though, do either of you have an anecdotal success story of businesses you've seen having success in the field? And we'll do this Apollo style. So if it's not funny, we'll get.
Just gonna get yanked off the stage. I like it. I like it.
I represent the government. We don't really do. We don't do humor. But I will say, what's not funny is breaking the law. And so, the one other thing that we were able to do just a couple weeks ago is there's a great New York startup that wants to sell. They built this great hardware. They want to sell it in airports around the world. And they were kind of ready to go. They were looking at creating these partnerships. They had not yet looked into whether or not they needed a federal export license to do so, and they're probably going to need one. And that's kind of a big deal if they had done it without going to that. So we can also kind of flag things for you as you're going through the process.
Like, all of these stories are really inspiring, and this just goes to set the stage that any one of you in this room can have your own reality show. Any one of you in this room can be an international name or brand, and any one of you in this room can also break the law. So please make sure that you follow procedure. So all of these stories are really, really good. The next segment that we're transitioning into is products and branding. How many of you all have an actual product that is like physical that you can hold and touch? And how many of you have like a brand that you are elated to talk about and really sell every day? Okay, go ahead. The first question that we have are, what are the challenges of selling products across multiple borders? Very nice. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the grants that I mentioned before is actually can be used to adapt your product for an international market. So it's the state, New York State grant. You can use it for translation. You can use it for changing your product to adapt to international markets. You can use it for local advertising in those international markets. So when it comes to sort of like adaptation, that grant is something to look at.
Very nice. So with everything that you guys are doing for your product and your brand, you want to make sure that you touch on each one of these examples as well as the notes that they've given you. The last section that we'll do, and we'll have about 5 minutes, 5 minutes for questions. We're having too much fun here, ladies and gentlemen. But we want to make sure that we give you all of the information that you need. The last section is people, and we'll actually start with Danny. So Danny, how do you find good partners globally? And how do you engage foreign governments if part of your business expansion will require interaction with government agencies?
So on the government piece, if you think that part of your expansion is going to require sort of working with the government, or if you want to explore whether they have incentives, or you've sort of gotten to a short list and now you want to research more, again, I really think it's a great resource and unique to New York City that we can help introduce you to 4, 5 representatives of different countries in an afternoon at the cost of a subway ride. And I think that it puts you in the driver's seat if you're having those meetings here in New York, because they know that you can go down the street and meet with another country. So I would say to meet governments, if that is something that you need to do or want to do, that's something that we're happy to facilitate, and we can talk to you more about it, and I'll be here afterwards. And in terms of finding partners on the ground, the one thing I'll mention again is the federal commerce global presence of people that do vetting. They actually do charge a slight fee, the federal government, for this to take clients, but they will vet your partners. They will introduce you to potential companies that you can partner with. Just ibusiness@cityhall.nyc.gov. If that can be helpful, reach out.
Thank you. Give it.
iBusiness, like international, so ibusiness@cityhall.nyc.gov. And that's if we can be helpful, or if you have ideas for us and how we can help on the inbound side or on the outbound side. Just coming here, we already got a new idea. We launched a website for international businesses that are looking at New York. And through talking with Ken and folks here, I think we're going to have a new featured neighborhoods section of the page where we talk about Harlem, when we talk about some of the other neighborhoods we want them to know about, because too many of the startups I talk with from around the world only know about the Flatiron. Now they're starting to know about Dumbo. But just by being here, we got this great new idea. So if you have ideas or questions, please email me.